Jayden, start with the style here, how you're adapting. You feel comfortable in what your role is and what they're asking you to do?
Yeah, I think the style is really fast-paced, something I'm probably not as used to coming from the Horizon League where everybody's really, big-time players and stuff. And the adaptability is, I'd say it's a learning curve for me, but this is why I came here, just to be able to adjust to playing with the best of the best and just give it my best shot. So I think it's been really fun because I've been stretched out of my comfort zone. So yeah, I'd say that I'm adapting well. The teams I'm enjoying playing with, so yeah, it's been fun.
How is your game going to be different here? I mean, you were asked to score, and you had to score a lot, I understand, at Detroit, but maybe, not as much here. You may not get as many shots. How is that going to work for you?
No, definitely. We've got a lot of natural scorers here as well, so obviously the responsibility isn't, just to put the ball in the hoop. There's bigger things, and the impetus behind my growth as a player and helping this team is really playing defense, locking down on the defensive end, hitting open shots, cutting well, and then obviously he knows I can score. So just focusing on the things that maybe were that I wasn't so great at coming out of Detroit, and just trying to implement those and better help the team.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, when you look at like NCAA stats, there's really not that many guys around the country who score 20 points a game anymore. There's a lot to be said for that. I think there's also a lot to be said for a guy who walks out of a situation like that and goes to a place that might be bigger and more challenging. I mean, there's certainly both sides to that story. I just, kind of, what was your thought process? You could have stayed and been a star at another point.
Yeah, I think for me in life, you always want to challenge yourself and to take risks, but healthy risks. So for me, I wanted to just really have a go at being in the best possible spot that I could be, and this is a Power 5 school, so I think that I completed, in my headspace was like I completed everything I wanted to at Detroit. Like, I just wanted to see whether I could kind of, go and have a kind of a freedom on the offensive end, which I didn't have at Grand Canyon. So I just wanted to, so I kind of ticked that box, and then it was like, okay, on to the next. And so obviously here it's like a major adjustment because the team's, the team's back isn't on my shoulders. So it's been different. It's been a challenge some days where I just think to myself, man, like, did I make the right decision? But then that's obviously looking inwardly. But my scope has kind of been like, okay, well then how do I now adjust to a player, propelling winning? So like, I think that's the next step for me is like, okay, now how do I be a winner? Because everyone knows I could probably score, I can do this. So how do I do the little intangibles to help a collective goal to win?
The interesting with that is probably everyone on this roster, because everyone's so new, they're probably all saying the same thing, is how can we all come together and win?
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes I look around and I see the guys and I'm thinking like, man, there's no way I'm here. Like honestly, like even though I had the ability to have a freedom under Coach Davis at Detroit, which I'm so grateful for him for, and that kind of played into me leaving as well because he left. But sometimes like I go home and I call my mom up back home and I'm just like, Mom, it's crazy, that I'm here. Honestly, I'm so humbled by being here because the guys are so great. And it's just a way different league, and the exceptionability of the guys is just amazing. So yeah, I'm just thankful.
So tomorrow night, bigger arena, brighter lights, what will that mean?
Yeah, it's going to be weird because like usually when Detroit played against a high major team like this, it was, the fans against us, and now the fans are kind of pulling for, I'm with the fan base. So it's going to be different, but I mean, I think it's cool. It's like I've been here in college for like 4 to 5 years, so I'm pretty much used to it. So hopefully there'll be some nerves for sure, as there is with anybody who's beginning, the season and starting it out just for the team, and you've got nerves, and but it's going to be fun. It's going to be good.
Jayden, this is probably a really dumb question, but I'm just curious, like, what was last season like for you guys carrying around that zero for so long, and then you get one, and then that had to feel good. Man, this is one, right?
It was rough. It was rough, honestly, because when you're like the main player of the team, it's transfixed onto, okay, what's he doing? You know, like this is really on him. You're the scapegoat behind, you know, everything that's not happening, or what's not happening. Is it the coach? Is it him? And the coach is, you know, kind of going back and forth and saying, well, the players are not doing it. Like, there was a lot of things that were happening in the locker room where we had a lot of injuries, and pretty much we had like a starting 5 set, but they were out due to academic ineligibility or, you know, they got injured, so it was like hard. So we were pretty much playing with the bench 5 as the starting 5, besides myself. So that was different, and I just think it was a roller coaster. But if I'm gonna be completely honest, I probably was thinking more individual based, like how do I recover from, because I was ineligible halfway through the season prior to that, my junior year. So I was like, how do I be present in every practice, in every game, and just try to show up. So I just tried to show up, and I don't think I took as much time focusing on leadership, and because I think that those qualities were kind of beset on me, and it was new for me, and I had a lot of growing pains. How do I talk to the guys when I'm really quiet as a person and things like that? Because they would kind of look to me, and I'd just like, let me show you through my game. But that was, yeah, it's easier said than done. But yeah, no, it was difficult for sure.
You got the one win,
Yeah.
major achievement, minor achievement too, I understand, but just a huge relief.
I mean, I wouldn't say relief, because it was like, man, you won in 30 or whatever, you know. It's just like, it doesn't look good, you know, because then I think people tag that, you know, all he does is score, or the only way he can be effective is if he puts the ball in the hoop and he's the main guy, and that's not a player that I wanted. That partly played into why I came here, not to like look outward and address the inward, but like I just wanted to reflect the player that is about winning now. You know, because I think before, you know, you want to chase the stats, as everyone does deep down. Every player is like transfixed on his own stat line, but I just wanted to be a part of winning for a change, and maybe give up of myself for a collective goal to try and chase something special.
This team has been assembled not only from across the U.S., but from around the world, so many different backgrounds. Do you all try to learn about each other's, you know, home countries, the place you all came from?
Yeah.
Does that help you all, you know, get to know, kind of mesh a little bit?
Yeah, and this is probably in college speaking, since I've been in the U.S., this has probably been the most diverse team I've been on. Different, you know, ethnicities, different backgrounds, and I think we've come. This is the closest team I've ever been on, like in basketball. So it's been amazing. The friendships, and I think the guys genuinely want to see, you know, you do well. And there's always, you know, that bickering and the camaraderie of the guys, you know, doing accents and things like that. You know, you do your accent, it's annoying. I'd say Eduardo, the guy that you just saw. Me and him, just because he's a pommy. They're not cool, you know. They're not good. Australia's the best. But yeah, I think that's cool. I would have liked to have an Aussie on the team for a change, but nah, it's all good. They're better than anything I could have gotten. So yeah.
People say you learn from losing. Do you think that's true?
I think you learn from what you want to learn from. So you learn from, so just like anything, you take situations and it's your response to anything. So your response to anything is how you do everything. So for me, if we would have won, okay, how does he deal with when the camera's in his face, and does he go home and go out with his friends and kind of just takes the day off, and, you know, or does he go home, okay, let me just center myself, thank you, Lord, for the game, be grateful to God, and just kind of humble yourself, okay, let's go to work tomorrow, same thing. So like, even in success is just as much as how do you learn, is just as much as in defeat. And so for me, I was learning how to be resilient, and so how to bounce back, go back in the gym after the day and just keep shooting my shots, because I could have been like, well, we all throw in the towel, I may as well throw in the towel on myself. So I didn't want to do that. So I think I just wanted to learn regardless of the situation. Yeah.
I covered a baseball team that lost 104 games in the season, and another one that won 107. So, I mean, believe me, they learned more winning 107 than they did losing.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's just it's like a weight, you know. Because like, you know, looming in the crowd, that's what everyone's thinking. Like, man, this team suck, you know. And you kind of like go into the game thinking, I really think we can win. Like, I really thought that I could put the teams back on my shoulder and to try and. But it was weird because I think as coach, sometimes there's you box in certain players subtly without even knowing, like subconsciously. Like a guy might not feel like he can play his game, but whereas in Detroit, I felt like I could completely play my game. But whereas GCU, I was just a role player. And some people were like, man, what happened? But it was just the opportunity widened and I just seized it. I think like any player in our team could be the guy, but it's just, it's each player giving little piece by piece to the team. So.
It'd be important for you to win this year, though.
Yeah, very important. I know I only heard off the grapevine that we were picked quite low. But I think,
No one knows anybody.
yeah, no one knows anybody. Just a fresh team, and I think it'll be a lot of surprises. But it's like anything. It's like it's a roller coaster. It's up and it's down. I think a consistency is what I'm seeking as well from the team. Like if we can just keep, I think that shows more. To be valiant in defeat, or to bounce back and to figure it out. Because come March, that's when we want to be completely like, okay, we're locked in, we're ready. We've seen the highs and the lows, the pits, and yeah, I think it'll be good.
Do you know anything about West Virginia? Growing up in Perth, West Virginia had a good women's basketball player from Perth, who I think played in the same club team you did.
Really?
Natalie Burton. I don't know if you ever heard of her. But she'd be older than you.
Yeah.
So, but did you have any knowledge? And how weird is your path that is taking you to all this?
Yeah, it's been crazy, but I didn't really know about like college basketball. I knew about North Carolina because of Michael Jordan, but like in Australia, there's not really. I mean, college basketball was like a huge thing, but it's like almost, it's esoteric. It's like it's not something that basketball players think they can attain. Like I was getting cut from club teams in Perth, and I was like, man, I ain't never gonna make it anywhere. Like I was like, man, I suck, dude. Like I honestly, like I don't know how I made it here, off a tooth and a leg, but I didn't know anything about West Virginia. Perth is it's the second most isolated city on the planet, and so it's just very easygoing. A lot of surfing. No one's really talking about who scored, against Duke basketball. They were just like, oh, you want to go down to the beach for a coffee. It's like, it's just different lifestyle. But I think everybody in Perth thinks that is around my friend group thinks I'm a celebrity. When I post stuff on Snap about the Mountaineers, and I know about the song, and I got to be very careful. I'm not a lover of country. So I like the Mountain Mama. That's just I gotta love it though, because that's I'm repping. But like I don't like country though. I've never been a country lover. But no, this is a cool place. I love the greenery. The kind of fall, like driving in from Pittsburgh to West Virginia. It's just beautiful. So you guys are very blessed with the serenity of your landscape.
Detroit, good morning.
Oh, completely different. It was like when I came from Australia to America, it was like, what is going on? Like, bloody no clue, like you're just sitting there and like, this is so different. But Detroit, it was like I went from, I don't know how to word it. It was like kind of like ghetto to like, you're in like everything so lush and so nice. And like at Detroit, we were eating pizza scrolls after the game, and Lunchables, like, it was just different. It was just a different scenery. I think we had I think also what was different is like, even in my time there, I think there was like one white person on the staff. So it was like you go from like all black to like all white. And so it was just like, it's just different, but you adapt. And I think I can add all of this to my mental repertoire. So as a psychology major, it's all about personability and relationships, and your adaptability. And as a mixed race person, like, you want to be able to be inclusive of everyone and to have a scope and a knowledge about the people around you. So I think it just adds to my repertoire, because you come from Australia, then you go to, America, and you're in so many different states, and Phoenix and Detroit and LA. And so it was like now West Virginia. So you can just add that. It just adds to your story.
Kind of curious if that psychology background has helped you maybe bond with some of these guys, because it is a whole new team and everybody's getting to know each other.
Yeah, well, it all comes down to commonalities and addressing differences and trying to amend those into, strengths and being personable with people. Like, okay, I know what makes him tick and I know what doesn't. Okay, I know how to talk to him this way. I know how to address him. I know what kind of sets him off, and then I know what, gaslights him. So psychology is just kind of, it's more so lending an ear when needed. So I kind of sit back. I don't want to assert a mindset where I'm a kind of an accidental diminisher, as they call it. So it's kind of like, I don't want to assert myself as an expert. I just want to sit back and kind of be listening to what people are saying, and then regurgitate whatever they've told me and kind of spit it back to them in a positive manner. So yeah, that's just what I do. So but not be manipulative, just be aware of the relationships that I have and try to grow with guys. Yeah.
Was it a tough decision to come here to play basketball?
In what way?
Just
in US to the US.
It's so far.
Yeah. It was like when I first came, it was like a 27-hour flight. So it was 6 hours from Perth to Sydney, and then 15 hours from Sydney to LA, and then I had to go to Alabama. So then it was LA to North Carolina or Denver, and then Denver to North Carolina to Alabama. So it was like, when I got off, I was like, man, I'm stuck here. And I only went home I went home 5 years after I came here. So that was the hardest thing. Really missed my family. Because I talked to my mom. We go on walks with my grandma, because my grandma and my mom raised me. So just missing them, missing the conversations. Because I think my lifestyle is really different. I don't like going out. I'd rather go watch a movie and go to the movies with them. Like, I was still going to the movies with my mom, holding hands, at 14. But that's just what we do, like, there was nothing, I think coming to America has left a lot of, it's like anything. It's left some pit holes in my life, and also brought some of the most amazing stories I could ever have imagined that I can share with my children and things like that. So it's still rough, when I think about it. But I'm thankful. Yeah.
You're very mature in your answers, very thoughtful in the way you consider things and how you speak on them. Do you think you were always that way? Is that kind of an innate characteristic, or is it your experiences that have built that?
I think so. When I moved here, it was mainly living independently. So I didn't have a lot of people to talk to. So there was a lot of self-regulating. So I had to learn how to talk to myself, not like a creep, but like, yeah, because my sisters used to get on me like, you got to be a creep talking to yourself. But I was just self-regulating, but I'd verbalize it because I didn't have a father or like my mother in the physical to like, Jayden, come on. After a game, like, it's okay, keep your head up, you can do this. Or, okay, like, you've got nothing to do today. How do I still be productive without being idle? Okay, come on, you need to pray today. Okay, you need to open your words. So it was just, I think that it just grew and it grew and it grew, and I still make so many mistakes. And that's the hardest thing, is like the mistakes I've made have not been because of a knowledge that I have and then I'm unable to implement. It's just sometimes you just don't know. Like, who knows how to move at 14, 15 years old by yourself on the other side of the planet and then adjust to adult living, because I had to organize the camps that I would go to, money that I would save from working or doing different things. And then like, okay, I gotta, I'm in LA, and then I've got to call my, friend up to see whether I can stay at his house, and you're house hopping, and then you stay with family in Alabama for a little bit, and then you're in Wichita. It was honestly, I got a little piece of my heart in every spot, but it was difficult because you don't feel home anywhere. I feel like, oh man, I'm only going to be in Morgantown for, a couple months, till the season ends, and then I'll be shipped off somewhere else, or I might go home, or, you never know. But I've been so many different places. I'm just kind of like, I just want to stay in one spot. But I know that's not the nature of basketball. You got to be all out and everywhere. But yeah.
Jayden, this sounds difficult. Why did you come overseas? Like, it's a whole lot for you. Turns out okay, but.
Yeah, I honestly think I had a conversation with my mom about this. I gotta be careful with my answer, because I don't think like people think I just hate basketball. Like, I love it. I'm so thankful to be here. But I was thinking, like, would I have ended up in the same place if I would have stayed till I was, done with my senior year of high school? Like, did I had to leave that early? And I'm not sure, but who knows, like, if I would have taken something away, would something have changed? But I don't think I would have changed, but I think there's still a lot of things, like cobwebs, that I need to address, like, like with being alone or different things like that I've had to work through, or the depression or anxiety, things like that, or losing people, like lost my father figure, to cancer, and then you just have to address that on your own, or like spending multiple Christmases by yourself, or birthdays, no one to really talk to, because it's like a different time zone in Australia, so it's just hard to talk to them all the time. But no, I came over because I wanted to chase a dream. I wanted to chase something. That's the primal thing of our human existence. We just want to go after something, and when you're determined, you don't look back. So I told my mom literally, I think 2 days before or something like that, I was like, I'm going to America and I'm getting the ticket, and I probably won't be seeing you for a long time. And she was a bit sad. My sister too was a bit incongruent with the whole idea of me leaving. I thought I was too young. They still think I was too young to leave, which I probably agree, but no, it worked out in the end because I'm here, so yeah.
And then, psychology, has it always been an interest of yours? Is that something you grew into due to your, like you said, a lot of your interests?
I don't know. I think I just know how to, like, talk to people, I think, like, plus I've heard I've got a pretty soothing voice, so they tell me, like, man, you should be a psychologist, you could be a therapist. I don't know. I think when my mom's calling, she might be like crying, like, oh, I miss you. I'm like, hey, it's okay, we're gonna come, or like self-regulating myself. So I feel like if you can conquer your own mind and you can how it works with all the things that have happened, I'm sure you can relate to other people, find common ground. So yeah, the psychology's always been great. But I don't know, I think hopefully one day I can go into maybe some counseling or some mentorship or something along those lines. So yeah.
How old were you when you first came over to the...
I was 15, turning 16, yeah. So I was freshman in high school, yeah. And I just like, after I got a letter of recommendation from the high school that I was at, and I said, look, I'm deciding to leave, and they were like, is there anything we can do, can we take some, because I was on a scholarship in high school over there, because it was a boarding school, and I was like, nah, my dad kind of set me and was like, look, I've got some people you can stay with, you've never met them, but you can go over there and stay, and yeah, so.
That's where it all began.
Where it all began, yeah.
Jayden, thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.